Oh boy, welcome back to Deep Thought. It's a dumb name. We're continuing our 999 playthrough, and Mexi, it's been a while, let's just say that.
After much delay, after several children could have been birthed, we have our own legendary hiatus. Welcome to the big leagues, Evan. You finally made it.
Oh man, I feel so happy to be here.
Does it feel as sad and empty as you thought?
Kind of. It feels more, I don't know, dissatisfying, if anything. I don't really feel empty, it's just kind of, I mean, there was a bit of a hole in my stomach, but, that's probably something else.
I always describe the emotion as peachy. It's sweet, but there's a large pit just right in the middle.
Yeah. And peaches are the best fruit ever, so, yeah.
Also, because this is a new ending, everyone's back alive. Hooray!
Oh, yeah. If you watching this, in case you haven't been watching this, actually, last we left off, Junpei met a horrible end when he got an axe to his head/hand/general human body area, a vulnerable part.
And then a meme was born, and then transcended upon several genre of games, and then reset, redo.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And I should point out that one of the biggest flaws of the original 999 game for the DS is that once you get to an ending, you're sent all the way back to the beginning, and you have to go through the entire game once again until you get to another ending. Now, that's not so bad for text sections, because you can at least skip that, but you can't skip the puzzle sections.
No, and they tried to mitigate that, because some of the puzzles are pretty quick.
Yeah.
Definitely in this route, not this first room, but the room we go to afterwards, like, you can clear it if you know what to do in 2 minutes, which is good. But I don't know, it's sort of that whole Zelda dungeon design thing that it's fun the first time, but once you know the solution, it's like you can do it basically semi-consciously.
Yeah, with the initial room, you could just go ahead and get the keys from where they are and just unlock the cases, because one of the keys triggers the required visual novel section. So yeah, you don't even have to get all the little slips of papers and not even the screwdriver or the picture. You can just go for the keys. Yeah, as an example.
See, as a series, they kind of adopted, and it's kind of a problem with this game because it's a spoiler. But like as the season went on and the whole multiple endings and how that just becomes completely ingrained in the plot, and the fact that it's ingrained in all the game's plots. But I feel like just 999 had to do a bit more to hide, I mean, the reality of the multiple endings, like what's actually happening with them. Whereas the other games, that's why you can kind of jump to moments in the timeline, is because we're kind of aware of what's going on with the endings. In this game, it's kind of ambiguous what the multiple endings are. Is it just another means of extending the gameplay for this DS game, or what's going on? I don't know. I haven't played good games yet.
Yeah, this isn't Corpse Party, where all the endings pretty much suck and everyone dies in there, and nothing interesting happens. I mean, some things happen, but...
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, by the time this game came out, pretty much the game design consensus was that, you know, if there's multiple endings, the point of the game is to get all the endings to get the one true ending. To which the Zero Escape series says, fuck no. No. That's not how it works. That's not how time works. That's not how physics works. Let us show you how this actually works by using some fake-ass sci-fi shit.
Yeah, and the trouble with that is we can't exactly say how yet, as you pointed out, because that would be spoiling the entire game. But let me just say, without spoiling, that once you realize what's going on and you go back through the game again, you'll start to pick up on a lot of things that you didn't quite notice, and things that are put in a whole different context once you get the initial plot synopsis.
And yeah, and that's usually typical for multiple ending games. It's like, we had some facts revealed within the last ending, but definitely things like, I feel especially with this route, they give a lot away about Snake and Seven in the additional dialogue. And it kind of made me realize that probably the reason I was so surprised by a lot of the twists in this game is that I don't tend to go for the flavor text in games. I solve the puzzle, I get the dialogue options that are given to me, and I I go. I don't stop to examine the items multiple times, and that's a bad thing because this game requires you to check shit like 5 times before you get to the good jokes, or before you get to essentially like the giant reveals that are like they're pretty blatantly spelled out for you. Like certain characters' names and certain characters' occupations are pretty evident if you just go with the flavor text.
I've seen maybe probably not even a quarter of the flavor text. I know, of course, of the ladder joke in the very beginning, because LOL, funny meme.
But is it a step ladder?
Yeah, it's a step ladder. I don't even know her. I feel so bad for the localization team. Yeah. At other points, I just kind of just went through the game as normal, and I mean, I feel like at some point when I do play this game again for like the millionth time, maybe I should check out the rest of the flavor text just so I can see if I can get any more of that get any more of that. Oh shit! This is pointing to something else. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things, especially in this room. I don't know if you check it in this playthrough, but there's a lot of lights in this route, and you can check all of them. And for some weird reason, Snake, like, his interest gets piqued anytime you're by a light bulb, and Junpei kind of starts getting these thoughts of, is it because he's blind? Does he not like lights? And it's like, just give it time, young Junpei. Soon you shall know. Also, I like how we're skipping pretty much the big point of picking this door is that Junpei gets to see what happened to the ninth man instead of just, the sneak peek they got at the very, very beginning.
And we get the wonderful text here describing the amazing details of the sad remains of the ninth man.
Yeah, and I noticed that some people, too, they'll notice that there's almost a juvenile flavor to at least the bottom screen text. I don't know if we mentioned this either. We're just going to re-mention stuff now that it's been 2, 3, a century since we saw the last ending. But the text on the bottom screen is very much different than the text that appears on the top screen. And you should keep that in mind just through while you play any Zero Escape series game, is that the screens are very important. The games were designed and they're written in a manner that things that happen on the bottom screen have some disconnect from what is happening on the top screen. So the text, even if it seems to be coming from a central character or a central narrator, there is always a difference if it is displayed on the other screen.
Yeah, and even if there's only one screen, you should keep an eye out on how exactly they differentiate the kinds of text that's being displayed, because, well, they're still very, very different. And again, you'll see why, but we can't exactly tell you.
We gotta get you to think about it. But no, this was like it was around the time that the DS games were all getting really neat and innovative. I mean, people had doubts about the DS. Why did we need a Game Boy with 2 screens? I know it wasn't as bad as with the 3DS, because I remember like people were so skeptical about the 3DS, but no, the 2DS was kind of around the time that Nintendo was just letting like small developers publish on their console. That's how we got Hotel Dusk. That's how we got 999. And it was a lot of people that were really thinking outside the box about what you could do with the dual screen. Did a lot of these ideas stick? Not really. I mean, are there any 3DS games that make you hold your DS like a book? I mean, that idea kind of died out, even though I don't think it was a bad idea. But
no, not at all.
999 was definitely also trying to take advantage, and you'll see it at the very end again. Sorry, fam, but just know that even what we see now, they are still thinking about the fact that this is a dual screen system.
Yeah, and I also want to say that there are a lot more opportunities that you can get from the dual screen setup than with 3D or anything, because 3D is just a gimmick.
It really is. I mean, it's such a gimmick that they literally had to make another version of that console that didn't even have the gimmick.
Oh, yeah.
And then they had to still call it the same system. What was it? The new 3DS, 2DS XL for kids with chubby fingers.
Featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series. Anyway, so we are in the first puzzle room on this current route that we're going. It is the first class cabin, and it's, well, modeled off of a first class cabin of the old cruise ships, such as like the Titanic and the Gigantic. And I was looking up some research about these ships before we started recording, and I found some interesting factoids. Well, actually, I just kind of found one. Essentially, if you wanted to room in a first-class cabin, you would have to pay upwards of, I think, what was the value? It was, I think it was something like $100-something thousand in today's money.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah, it was. The Titanic and Britannic and all those the cruise ships were very, very, very pushed towards the rich and powerful. I don't know if you can tell.
Well, I mean, at least the first class was. Also, this scene never really gets an in-game explanation, but it was kind of confirmed in a Q&A that what's happening here is that Snake is listening to the team that went through door 4. So he's even able to pick up at least sounds from clear other rooms in this situation, but it's meant to be ambiguous. You're kind of wondering what's Snake's deal here, but it's pretty innocuous. He's just trying to listen for what the other teams are doing.
God, I didn't even think about that.
I mean, I knew it was that he was listening to something or that he heard something, but I thought it could have been something else that he may have picked up on. But no, it was confirmed that he's just trying to listen for the other crew, the other team there, which is cool too. I mean, it's really neat. He's keeping his mind on a lot of different things. Snake is a really smart character in this game. He's a snarky fucking character in this game too. I think it's kind of funny if you mess with any of the chairs for too long, he threatens to beat the shit out of you. And it's like, whoa, Snake is a drunken kung fu master.
I mean, I don't doubt him, considering the other events, which I'm not going to reference. We're going to keep doing that the entire playthrough, aren't we?
Yeah, but mostly, we're setting up, it's build up. The game is doing the exact same thing that we're doing with our commentary. But it's all about building this mystique and yet intimidating persona for Snake. I mean, we've already seen that he disappears halfway through the story. So, I mean, he was such a profound character that it made Clover go murderous that he was gone. So I think it's kind of neat that now we're going into the timeline or the ending line that this is where we'll find out who Snake was, the kind of man he could have been.
Yeah, it'll be a bit before that because we have a couple more endings to get through. But yeah, this is the first. If you want to get to the true ending of the game, there is one route that is required, and I will say that this is the first area that you have to go through in order to get to that route.
Yeah, I think this was actually the first room I picked when I first ever played this game completely blind, and it was only because I wanted to see if they would show any more of the blown up Ninth Man. I also kind of wanted the protagonist to see it. It's like, let's go completely Saw on this bad boy.
Back when you were an edgy boy, when I don't know how to finish that.
I mean, I was still an edgy 20-something. It took a while to just kind of rough those out and just accept shit for what it is.
And I may as well comment on the puzzle room itself. I thought it was all right. A lot of it's mostly contextual, except for one part at the very end. It's all about collecting these music sheets here and gathering them towards this little grand piano, and we're going to be using that to unlock the door.
Yeah, basically this is our Silent Hill puzzle. The second half, at least. The first half, though, yeah, it's just collecting these music plates. One of them is actually incorrect. I think it's that the plate D actually has F notes on it. But I mean, can you really? It's innocuous at best. The cool thing is that in the bathroom, eventually there's a toilet, and Seven makes a mention of the urban legend about the hand in the toilet that, you know, influenced Majora's Mask to have that one hand coming out of the toilet.
Yeah. Sorry, did you say Majora's Mask? I thought you meant like Skyward Sword.
I mean, either way, there's a hand in the toilet, but the Majora's Mask one gives you the piece of heart. I think it's based off like the legend where it's like red toilet paper or blue toilet paper or some stupid thing.
Oh.
It's one of those weird Japanese ghosts that gives you a choice, but both choices kill you anyways. Like there's one about a girl with like a cut up face, and it's like, do I look pretty? And if you say yes, she kills you, but if you say no, she kills you. And you're supposed to walk away, or you're supposed to say something like, I don't rightfully care what you look like, ma'am. It's like, okay, so the moral is be polite to the ghost? Like there's a whole bunch of weird Japanese folklores where it's these weird choices that both end in death. So it's like, just avoid the supernatural in general. Just don't even try.
So essentially, if you take the red pill, no, sorry, did I say red pill? I mean, if you take the red toilet paper, you see how far this thing goes, and if you take the blue one, you'll just wake up and be in a dream or something like that.
You just wake up and this playthrough never started in the first place.
That'd be a blessing for some, but not to us, because we gotta finish this shit.
I would very much like that.
Indeed, yo.
But this is also really neat about putting the glass pieces that we have to collect, and then there's a weird joke that if you keep touching the fire, like Seven kind of will very verbally direct you through the steps of getting the vase, putting water in the vase, and then using that water to put out the fire. Like there's a lot of good flavor text where Seven is like, because a lot of these characters just kind of bullshit you. They're like, Junpei, I wonder if you could figure this out. But Seven will just outright put the water in the vase, kid. Like, just for the love of God, hurry up.
Now you got me imagining just Junpei spending the rest of the game putting his hand in the fire, and we reach the secret ending where the ship sinks and we couldn't save anyone or ourselves.
Fire ending. Junpei just couldn't handle how hot the fire was.
But he had to see if he could handle it just a little bit longer.
Maybe the next time, ow. Maybe a little ow.
And there we go. Class is over, folks. Or class has started. Really? It's like Schrodinger's class. Who knows?
I don't know. It's the Westminster chime, isn't it?
I believe so, yes.
Also, they mention it in the game too, but they call the clock tower Big Ben, but Big Ben's just the bell. The tower is actually Elizabeth Tower.
I'm sure they're not the first people who've gotten that wrong.
No, there's lots of things that are like that, but it's just kind of... It's probably more of a translation thing anyways. That or Snake is just an idiot and doesn't know anything about British history, even though, like, the Titanic and the Gigantic were all British ships, so, you know, England kind of comes up a lot in 999 as well.
I mean, cut the man some slack. He has amnesia, I think.
Cut Seven slack, but what about Snake? What's his excuse?
I don't know. Maybe his hearing isn't that perfect after all. But we'll find out if that's true, and if anything else about Snake is true as well, on the next part of 999. It's good to be back. Not really.